Darkcast Network. The light shines brightest on our indie podcasts.
Welcome to Ford in Vegas, a true crime podcast for the ages with two friends who hate each other. I'm Ford.
I am Vegas.
Vegas, and of course, right before we go live, what happened here?
Your stuff F's up?
Yeah, did you see that?
Well, it's always something, you know?
It's always something with you.
With me, you're the screw up.
That doesn't even...
Mine's perfect. You don't even know what's going on right now. Yeah,
Wait a minute.
yeah, you have no idea. Are you ready?
No, look at that.
Well, yeah, it's not doing right.
Oh my God, I give up.
You just have to deal with it.
If you're watching on YouTube, hit the subscribe button and don't forget to like the video. If you're on the go, this show is a podcast. That's right. You can subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. And if you're listening to the podcast, you can get it ad-free. That's right. You could get this podcast ad-free simply by going to patreon.com/FV True Crime. FV True Crime is also the place where you can get us on social media, on Twitter and Instagram. And always remember, if you want to buy a shirt, shop FordInVegas.com for a t-shirt. And we always recommend premium, soft quality. Also, this show airs every day on blackjacktv.net. And we are proud members, as you heard at the top of the show, we are proud members of the Darkcast Network, a collection, if you will, of indie true crime podcasts. Vegas, how you been?
I've been good. Yeah, real good. It is hotter than Hades in Southern California.
Yes.
So hopefully we can get through this without my nipples falling off because it's hot. I don't know how hot nipples fall off, but they might burn.
I think they would like freeze off if it was cold.
Well, yeah, freeze off, but they might fall off in heat. I don't know. I've never been that hot, but we might feel it this way today.
Yeah. We are taking our chances, and we are running the air conditioner in the background because it is just too hot to not. It was either run the air or don't do a show, Vegas.
Yeah.
Those were really the options.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hot right now. I mean, the air is helping. Don't get me wrong, because the last time we did this a couple weeks ago, we were dying. I mean, I was sweating. I think my balls stuck to the chair. It was bad news.
Yeah, we rushed through it.
But no rush tonight.
It was hot.
No rushing tonight. We got a nice airflow. Feeling good. Feeling good. Except I'm here with you. But other than that, I'm good.
The absolute latest, and that's where we will start tonight. The absolute latest on Eliza Fletcher. Her body and a discarded garbage bag containing what appears to be her running shorts were located near a vacant home in Memphis, Tennessee. The home of Elvis and Jerry the King Lawler.
She was found by Elvis?
She was found by an Elvis impersonator.
Oh.
No, you can't say that. Disrespectful. Disrespectful jerk-offs.
To who? To her or to
her.
Elvis?
To her. Not to Elvis.
Well,
Elvis was a fat drug abuser who died on the toilet.
Yeah, but what if an Elvis impersonator actually found her?
The disturbing details were included in an amended affidavit filed yesterday in a Shelby County criminal court days after police arrested Cleotha Abston.
Say that again?
Cleotha Abston in Fletcher's abduction.
Cleotha.
Abston's 38 years old, was initially charged with kidnapping and tampering with evidence. The first-degree murder and first-degree murder in perpetration of kidnapping were added after they found Fletcher's body. He was arraigned yesterday on charges of kidnapping and tampering with evidence, where a judge ordered for him to be held on a $510,000 bond.
How much bond?
$510,000.
That's a lot of bond.
Today, during an arraignment on the murder charges, the judge revoked Abstin's bond. So he ain't getting out. You are stuck there, my friend.
As he should be.
Police were alerted to Fletcher's disappearance around 7 a.m. last Friday. Richard Fletcher told officers that his wife had not returned home from her regular 4 a.m. jog.
That's a red flag.
Fletcher is an avid runner, kindergarten teacher, and a mother of two. Was running near the University of Memphis when she disappeared. Security video showed a black GMC Terrain passing and then waiting for the victim to run by. A man then exited the vehicle, ran toward Fletcher, and forced her into the passenger seat, the complaint stated. Investigators determined that Abstin was the man in the vehicle after his DNA was found on a pair of slide sandals at the scene.
Oh, those slide sandals get you every time.
His phone also placed him in the area at the time Fletcher was abducted. Those damn cell phones.
Yeah, it's 2022, guys. You should know if you're going to commit a crime, especially a murder or kidnapping, don't have your cell phone with you.
Yeah, leave your phone at home.
Yeah, why do you need it?
And what are you going to call?
Yeah, who you going to Ghostbusters?
According to the affidavit, a witness told police that she saw Abstin outside his brother's apartment cleaning the SUV with floor cleaner. The witness said it looked like Abstin was behaving oddly, probably because he just murdered someone. Abstin's brother also told police that he saw him cleaning the car and washing his clothes in the sink of the house. The brother said Abstin appeared to be acting very strange. So we're seeing a pattern here by eyewitnesses.
He's acting strange.
And he's cleaning up, something that you usually do when you commit murder.
You clean your car every week.
In surveillance video obtained by local news station WREG, Abstin is seen arriving at the Longview Garden Apartments around 7:57 a.m. Friday. In the footage, he sits in the car for a while, probably collecting his thoughts, before going inside of his brother's apartment. You know, he's doing like a because his adrenaline is probably on overload.
I mean, Longview Garden Apartments, that just sounds like it's criminal activity.
He's calming himself down.
He's hyperventilating?
He leaves the apartment and spends roughly an hour at the passenger side of the car, according to the news station. Abstin was arrested Saturday after investigators found the SUV in a parking lot by his residence. The affidavit says that Abstin refused to tell investigators where Fletcher was. He ain't telling. Her body was located as police were searching an area near Victor Street in Memphis. According to the affidavit, police saw the vehicle tracks near the driveway of a home and smelled an odor of decay.
That's a red flag.
I don't know what an odor of decay smells like, 'cause I've never smelled a decaying human, but I'm sure it is something out of this world.
You don't want to smell.
Have you?
Yes.
Oh, you have?
Unfortunately, yes. Back in my youth, there was a time that we went into a house and yeah. Once you smell it, though, you'll never forget it.
It's burned into your memory.
It is the worst smell.
Officers walked to the back of the home and found Fletcher on the ground. Police continued to search the area and located a trash bag containing the purple Lululemon running shorts that looked like the ones that she was last seen wearing by that security camera. In a statement Tuesday, Fletcher's family said they were heartbroken over the loss. Eliza was such a joy to so many. Her family, friends, colleagues, students, parents, members of her Second Presbyterian Church congregation, and everyone who knew her, they said. Quote, now it's time to remember and celebrate how special she was and to support those who cared so much for her, end quote. So there you go.
Like, what does he think? He's like, obviously, I wouldn't, if I murdered someone and they caught me because of DNA in the car and whatnot, I wouldn't tell them where a body was either. But because at that point, if you tell them the body, you're going to prison no matter what. So you might as well roll the dice, as they say. But why do you go to a house and just put her in a house? Like, because
she was in the backyard.
Well, okay, but
she was in the backyard of a house that didn't have anybody living in it. It was vacant.
Yeah, but you're outside. Like, people are going to smell you.
Yeah.
Like, you either, or if you, I mean, unless you dig a real deep hole.
Well, something tells me, I don't know for a fact, but I'm a betting man, and I would put money on this was something that just happened on a whim.
He didn't mean to kill her?
I don't think it was planned.
He meant to, like, rob her and then
abduct her, maybe rape her. I don't think I think it just happened in that moment, is what I'm saying. Like, I don't think he had, like, he staked out the area, saw her running one morning, maybe saw her running the next morning, kind of planned it out, thought it out. I think it might be one of those things that just kind of happened. I could totally be wrong.
I mean,
I'm just guessing.
Most murders are not premeditated.
Because they haven't charged him with premeditated murder.
Yeah.
So I don't think they... So, well, I mean, that answers your question about, why did he just dump her in a yard? I think he was just getting rid of the body.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't dig a shallow grave. He just, sounds like, just threw her in the backyard. But see, in that moment, are you really thinking, well, this body could start to decay and they could start to smell? At that point, you're probably thinking, you're not even thinking about your cell phone could be, pinged. You're not thinking about security footage around the area. You're not thinking about any of that stuff. I mean, you should be, but you're not.
Well, you should have thought about it before this stuff actually happened.
Yeah, so you're probably just dumping the body and getting the hell out of there and hope that nobody sees you.
Yeah.
But in times like these, in the era in which we live in, someone is going to see you.
I do live in the Switchblade era as well. That's a professional wrestling reference, if you people didn't know, which most of you probably didn't.
No.
But yeah, right over their heads. That's why I explained it right away, because you got it, but nobody else did.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely, somebody's watching you.
Yes.
Somebody is right now. Somebody's watching us do this.
Yes.
Yeah. The cloud, Apple is probably watching us.
No, you leave here. One of my neighbors is going to see you leave.
Yep.
Someone's going to have a Ring camera. I mean, it's safe to assume that you're being watched, and not necessarily by Big Brother.
No.
But someone's going to see something.
Yeah.
This isn't the 1800s.
No.
This isn't even the 1950s when you could get away with this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Up until about the 80s, you could get away with this sort of stuff. But since the 90s...
Especially now in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Ring cameras.
Since 2007.
Wireless home camera. I mean, everything is there for the taking. That's why even Twitter and Facebook, like the instant news cycle, like if you kill someone and they want to get your name out, it is all over the place. So you can go to a different country, but that doesn't save you. You're all going to get caught eventually, you scumbags.
So Cleotha Abston has a violent history of rape, assault, and kidnapping. Yes, this is...
Outstanding human being right there.
This is not his first rodeo. Authorities have confirmed to Fox News Digital on Tuesday that a juvenile court found it to be true that Abston, who is also known by the alias Pookie.
Pookie. That's what I call you.
Committed a juvenile delinquent act of rape against an unnamed suspect when he was just 14. So he is still wet behind the ears and forcing himself on girls who didn't want anything to do with him.
So that probably proves
So,
your point that he
started
wanted to,
young.
so he saw her and wanted to rape her, not kill her.
I don't.
But something happened in the scuffle. She probably fought back,
I would hope so.
and then he pushed her. She hit her head, or he shot her, or stabbed her. I mean, we don't know. It doesn't say. But yeah, I don't think he meant to kill her. He meant to rape her, which he's still a big scumbag.
So his actual name is Cleotha Abston-Henderson. His criminal past began when he was even younger, with the charges that include aggravated assault and rape. He told investigators that he dropped out of school after the 9th grade, but they had found no evidence that he'd ever attended his stated high school at all. So who knows if he ever went to any kind of high school. Abston's record goes back to 1995 when he was about 13 years old and shows juvenile court matters in every year. 95, 96, 97, 98, 99. So while the Yankees were a dynasty, this kid was going in the complete opposite direction. Duran wrote in a 2001 victim impact statement obtained by Fox News Digital, he obviously never learned any lesson from his encounters with the law. It took Cleo Abston-Anderson from June of 2000 to September of 2001, some 15 months, to get around to pleading guilty to the crime to which he had confessed on May 29th, 2000. He rejected a plea agreement, and because he didn't want to sign for any time, this, I understand, his jailhouse braggadocio, being a tough guy and showing off to the other jail inmates. So he looks like Terry Crews in that picture, but he has a history of violence, especially violence perpetrated on the opposite sex.
You would think after, an instant in juvenile court every year from 95 to 99, something would have, clicked and said, well, this guy's not that, he's not all there.
Abston-Henderson separately told investigators that he had a good relationship with his family, which is not something that you would expect, but his childhood was rough. He served about 20 years of a 24-year sentence and was released just 2 years ago.
So he was in jail
for 20 years.
For 20 years.
Yes.
And he's 38. So that tells you right there.
Fletcher is a fit 34-year-old, standing 5 feet 6 inches tall and about 137 pounds, and came jogging through the area. Abston-Henderson, a 6 foot tall, 175-pound man, allegedly pounced.
Yeah. The red flags were abundant there.
This guy's whole life is one red flag.
Yeah.
And now the husband is left with a couple of kids who don't have a mother because of this pervert.
Just because she wanted to go jogging, running at 4 a.m. like she normally did.
This is why I don't leave the house. And this is why I don't exercise.
Because somebody might be looking to rape you.
You never know.
That's true, you don't.
Men do get raped as well, Vegas.
I mean, they do. But as my old pappy used to say, you can't rape the willing.
So, if you're new to Ford in Vegas, a true crime podcast for the ages with two friends who hate each other, you may not know that we are firm believers in eye for an eye. And we feel that if you kill someone, you should be killed back. And if it is indeed found, Mr. Abston-Henderson is found to be guilty of murdering Miss Fletcher, Vegas, they should televise his killing on TV in Memphis, local television. They should all be able to watch him die on TV.
Yes. Yep. Why do the taxpayers of Tennessee have to spend the money to have this guy live in a prison for the rest of his life?
Put him down.
And I bet it might not even be the rest of his life.
Put him down, Glenn Jacobs.
I mean, I would think after he's already got one strike, he was in prison for 20 years, and now he murders somebody and whatever else they charge him with. I know there were a couple of charges. He should go away forever. He should never be able to get out.
Never should see the light of day.
No.
It's the end of you, bud.
Yeah. And hopefully somebody in prison shanks you.
We'll move on to Southern Ohio. 8 members of the same family were executed in a remote area one night 6 years ago, and 4 members of another family were charged for the shocking slayings that stunned the country. I don't remember this.
It doesn't pop a earbud when I hear this.
After numerous delays, George Wagner IV. I wish I was a 4th.
Why are all these like big name killers always like a junior or a 3rd or a 4th?
Yeah, like I wish I was like a 4th. That'd be kind of cool.
That means it'd be
Dick Ford IV.
Oh God.
George Wagner IV. And you know the funny thing is with names like that is the word "the" is just assumed to be in there because the word "the" is not actually in his name. It's actually George Wagner IV.
Yeah.
But you have to say "the" in front of it, otherwise it doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
It's like the Bronx. It's not actually called the Bronx. It's just called Bronx, but you can't say Bronx.
I live in Bronx, New York.
Yeah, you have to say
if you say I live in Bronx, New York, I mean, but most people don't say that.
No. So George Wagner IV is 30 years old. He is the first defendant in the case to go to trial, which began last week in Pike County Court with the seating of 12 jurors, the jury of his peers. Opening statements were scheduled for September 6th, but an illness of a participant in the case delayed the proceeding a week, court records show. After 7 adults and 1 teenager were found shot to death at 3 trailers and a camper on April 22, 2016, authorities launched what became the largest criminal investigation in Ohio's history.
Until they realized that you still have a speeding ticket that you haven't paid in Ohio for years ago.
Rumors initially swirled that a Mexican cartel may have been responsible due to 2 family members' alleged role in a marijuana growing operation. But the probe ultimately led to the arrest of George Wagner IV, his brother Edward Jake Wagner, their mother Angela Wagner, and their father George Billy Wagner III. There certainly was an obsession with custody, obsession with control of children, the then Ohio Attorney General Mike DeWine said at a press conference announcing the arrests. This is just the most bizarre story I've seen in being involved in law enforcement. Officers said the Wagners spent months planning the killings and were motivated by a custody fight between Jake Wagner and a child that he had with victim Hannah Roden. The feud between the families has been described as a modern-day Hatfield and McCoy rivalry. Is this coming back to you at all yet, Vegas?
No.
The jury, primarily composed of women, began its service last week with a haunting trip to the site of the mass murder at the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains. The victims were Christopher Roden Sr., 40, his ex-wife, Dana Manley Roden, 37, their 3 children, Hannah Roden, 19, Christopher Roden Jr., 16, and Clarence Frankie Roden, 20. Frankie Roden's fiancee, Hannah Hazel Gilly, 20, was also killed, along with the elder Christopher Roden's brother, Kenneth Roden, who was 44, and cousin Gary Roden, who was 38.
And they wiped the whole family off the planet.
Prosecutors say that Jake, the younger George, and the elder George Wagner methodically ambushed the rodents, storming each of their trailers in the dead of night. They never saw it coming, Vegas. They used guns with homemade silencers and phone jammers to prevent the victims from calling for help, according to prosecutors. Most of the victims were repeatedly shot in the head as they slept, which I guess is the way to go if you're going to get murdered.
If you're going to die, I mean, make it quick.
The killers spared 2 infants, thank you very much, and a toddler who were later found splattered with their parents' blood.
Well, those kids are fucked up for life.
I don't think they could remember it.
A toddler will. Maybe an infant won't, but a toddler will.
I don't know. Maybe.
I mean,
I don't remember much when I was 2.
Yeah, but you also didn't have your parents' blood splattered on you.
True. Some of the victims were collateral damage, killed because they just happened to be there, according to Special Prosecutor Angela Canepa. The area is one of the poorest, if you were wondering, in Ohio, and it's been hit hard, if you were also wondering, by the opioid epidemic, because those are cheap drugs. The prosecutors say Jake Wagner began dating Hannah Roden when she was 13 and conceived a child with her 2 years later when he was 20. Pervert.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal in most states.
The couple split, and a vicious fight over custody of their daughter soon erupted. Roden refused to sign papers agreeing to share custody with George Wagner IV. They will have to kill me first, she wrote in a message on Facebook in December 2015.
Betcha she regrets that.
She would later regret, I am sure. Unbeknownst to her, the Wagners had seen this message after Angela Wagner allegedly hacked into her Facebook account. Roden had also become pregnant with another man's child. There's a pattern.
A whore.
And Jake Wagner didn't want their daughter exposed to her new boyfriend or his family. The Wagners allegedly began plotting Roden's demise and anyone else in her family that they felt stood in the way of custody. The Wagners operated as one unit, making family decisions, putting them to a vote, even discussing when George and Jake Wagner should be intimate with their wives, Law and Crime reported. They lived an insular life, homeschooling their children and working together as truckers.
Oh, wow, that...
Roden wasn't the first ex allegedly targeted by the Wagners. Tabitha Claytor, George Wagner IV's ex-wife, with whom he shares a son, told investigators that she signed court papers under pressure from the family, giving up custody with the promise that the arrangement was temporary. But the Wagners allegedly wouldn't let her see the son. Billy Wagner III has pleaded not guilty and is set to go to trial after his son. In a surprise move, Jake Wagner pleaded guilty last year to multiple counts of murder and other charges on the 5th anniversary of the executions. The 29-year-old confessed to killing 5 of the victims in a plea deal that will spare him the death penalty if he testifies against his brother and father.
Absolutely not.
He is flipping.
I mean, I'm not saying I don't think... I don't think
he's going to flip.
Yeah, but I don't think you should offer him no death penalty. No. You're dying, gay.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah.
I don't care if you get...
say dying gay?
No, I said gay.
Oh, you said guy in a weird way.
I said gay.
Okay.
Not gay, guy.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, no, you don't offer him a plea deal. We're not going to execute you. No.
Put him down like Old Yeller.
Yeah, you don't even get him to trial. You make sure you put him down before trial.
He said in court that he was deeply and very sorry for what he'd done, and his lawyer added that Wagner understood that he would spend the rest of his life behind bars. George Wagner IV's defense lawyers have argued that he only went along with the slaughter that night out of fear his father would kill Jake Wagner if he didn't. So that's a good approach.
Yeah.
I had to be there. They said they also said that he was not directly responsible for a single murder. George did not shoot or kill anybody that's a named victim in this case. Attorney John Parker told the judge during a prior hearing he did not pull the trigger once. So what do you think, Vegas? What should be his crime?
Well, I still think it's murder.
Even though he did not actually kill anyone.
Yeah, because there are different stages of murder.
You're definitely an accomplice.
Well, yeah, like even like getaway drivers. Like if I drove you somewhere and you killed somebody, and I know that you killed somebody, and I
knowingly drove me away,
and I drove you away. Now I'm an accomplice to murder, so I can go to prison just as long as you can, and I didn't do nothing.
But prosecutors contend that the 4 defendants conspired to commit the murders, making all parties guilty under Ohio law.
Yep.
Regardless of who pulled the trigger.
Kill them all.
The trial is expected to last 6 to 8 weeks. More than 250 witnesses could be called.
No, just kill them all. They don't deserve to breathe anymore.
Well, I would give them their day in court.
I wouldn't.
Well, you have to.
Yeah, I know you have to.
Because we know, but even on this show, we feel like you should. I think you're just forgetting. But they should give them their day in court, and then once they're guilty, that's when we put them out.
Shoot them in the head.
Yeah.
No, you know what? I wouldn't even shoot him in the head. I'd shoot him like in I'd get like a sniper to just like shoot him in different areas of the body and let him just like die slowly. Because you massacred a family just because you wanted custody of the kid.
I mean, and they killed other people that weren't even involved.
Cousins. A cousin.
Yeah.
He happened to be sleeping over.
That's a horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just look, they to go out that way if they were all indeed sleeping when they got shot, which I find hard to believe that all of them were still sleeping.
That the homemade silencers work that well.
I mean, I'd be shocked, but just in case, let's just hope that they did. I mean, that's the way to go if you're going to get shot, to be shot while you were sleeping. But to have no ties to any of this crap and to die because you just happened to be there, that is horrifying.
Yeah.
That's awful.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they were in separate trailers, so it's not like they were all in the same trailer. So I guess if there was like 2 in one trailer and 2, I guess you could shoot them all when they were sleeping, because I don't think the noise, if the silencers were at least semi-decent, the noise wouldn't, wake the...
I mean, I don't even know how to even go about making a homemade silencer.
You could probably Google it.
I should tell you how many people I'm going to kill in my life.
You could probably Google it.
Yeah.
I mean, Google is unfortunately somewhere where people can get a lot of information.
So the one Wagner is going to flip, right? So he's going to flip.
For life in prison instead of the death penalty.
So
Do
you have a problem with him flipping like that? Because the next story also involves flipping.
Well, no, I don't necessarily have a problem with him. Like, I understand him flipping. I would flip too. Well, actually,
yeah, fuck my family at this point.
Well, yeah, but ultimately, though, like
the question, killed 5 of them.
Well, I know the question I have for you though is, would you rather spend the rest? Now, this guy's 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you assume in prison he's probably going to live another at least 30 years, okay? Because unless he like doesn't eat or something, whatever. But you assume 30 more years he's going to live at least until he's 60, maybe 40 more years. Wouldn't you rather just die?
Yeah.
Like, just kill me. I don't want to be in a prison for the rest of my life.
I don't want to do this.
Because I would go insane. My mental state would be shot. Just shoot me. Just kill me. Get lethal inject me. Whatever. Let me die.
Yeah.
And go to hell, or heaven,
or
the in between.
I don't think you can get in. I'm not really religious.
You probably couldn't.
I
don't
really know the rules that well, but something tells me you murder 5 people.
Yeah.
You probably aren't getting in.
Probably not. Probably
I
not.
know you could repent. You're a religious guy, aren't you?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
I mean, can you get in?
I
For
don't
murdering
know.
5 people?
The problem is you don't know, because when you find out, you're already dead.
And you can't tell any of us.
And you can't
who are
tell
still
anybody.
here.
My problem isn't with him flipping. My problem is with the DA allowing him to flip.
Allowing him to survive.
Yes. No death penalty. You're just going to be in there for life. No. He dies.
So in August, Charles Michael Haywood's mother brought him to the hospital when he allegedly came home with a bad cut on his hand. The next day, she brought her
That motherfucker was dead.
The next day, she brought her 22-year-old son to the police station.
Damn it. Why do I swear? Because then we're going to get an explicit.
After seeing him on the news as a murder suspect in connection with the death of Margaret Bracey.
Margaret?
Bracey, who was 42, at a hemp store in Surf City, North Carolina. Search warrants show, a Pender County clerk confirms to People. At 6:30 p.m. on August 24, Haywood walked into Exotic Hemp Company with a bandana around his neck and a backpack on, and can be seen studying a pamphlet in surveillance photos, according to the Surf City Police Department. Haywood was allegedly armed with a lethal cutting instrument.
Knife?
Authorities have not said whether that weapon was used or how Bracey died, according to the incident report. Haywood is charged with first-degree murder and armed robbery, according to a statement from the Surf City Police Department. The district attorney is seeking the death penalty. Thank you very much. Because that's what they do in North Carolina. North Kakalaki, to some. Haywood is from Holly Springs. I don't know where that is, but had been staying in the Surf City area, about 2.5 hours away for the past few months. According to the search warrants, after the alleged attack, Haywood allegedly took off his sweatpants and bandana and left them in the store. He allegedly put cash and merchandise into his backpack before fleeing. According to the search warrants, Haywood's mother said Haywood came home that night with a cut on his hand, so she took him to the hospital. The next day, she saw her son on the news in connection to the stabbing and brought him to the Surf City Police Department. Not on my watch, you little prick.
Mother sold him out.
He remains held at the Pender County Detention Center without bond. He is scheduled to be in court on September 14. It is unclear whether Haywood has retained an attorney who can speak on his behalf. So I'm going to say this not knowing at all what you're going to say in return.
Okay.
Vegas, because I do not pre-prep you.
No, you do not.
But I will state that Ford in Vegas, a true crime podcast for the ages with two friends who hate each other, solemnly stand by the mother for turning in her piece of shit son.
Yes.
Okay. I was a little worried about you.
No,
I'm not going to lie.
No. I mean,
I'm a little worried. I thought for sure you'd be like, yes, mother's a rat. Snitches get stitches.
No, there'd be a difference if the mother was in that line of work, or the mother had something to do with it, or whatever, and then snitched on her son. Okay, the snitches do get stitches. If they're in the life, and then they flip. But the mother had no reason to protect her son. First of all, that son's dead to rights anyway, because let's take off our clothes that have a bunch of our DNA on it and leave them in the store that you just stabbed somebody at.
Yeah, you deserve.
You dumb blank.
Yeah.
I mean, I could have listed the whole.
I think that's the word you're looking for.
Yes, I mean, I guess we're already explicit. You might as well keep going. But yes, this guy
might as well party.
This guy takes off his clothes and leaves them in the store that you just stabbed somebody at. Like, how are you going to explain that?
Like, yeah, we know there's cameras around, bud.
Yeah, come on, guy.
God, if you listen to this show, we tell you all the time that you're being watched.
And not only that, but you went to the hospital. You let your mom take you to the hospital. You have a cut, okay? You don't go to the hospital because what's the first thing that they do that they find if they find two types of blood? because maybe this guy probably was in the system, so they probably would have found him anyway. But if he wasn't, you found 2 types of blood. Now they're going to say, hey, did any people come in with a slash on their hand? Oh, yeah, actually someone did. I mean, you dumb.
You know, the best part is that they didn't even need to investigate it.
No.
All they needed to do was put this cat on the news. His mother saw him, and she was like, I got your guy. I just wish you would have collected some money from it.
This guy, that tells you this guy is a real piece of work. If his own mother,
your own mother turned you in.
Just says, yep, here he is.
There it is. Drop this piece of shit on the doorstep of the police station.
And thank God they're pursuing the death penalty.
You know, the thing is that in life, there's all these events that need to happen for you to end up where you end up, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like, if I don't go to nowlive.com, I don't start my old show, I don't meet you, that sort of thing.
Yes.
The butterfly effect, the ripples.
Yep.
If this guy's mom doesn't watch the news, he's still out.
He could be. I mean, somebody else might have turned him in. We won't know. But you would have to assume, not being in North Carolina and knowing anything else, yes, if the mom stays shut,
she doesn't see the news.
Well, yeah, if she doesn't see
the news,
he could still be out there.
He could still be free.
A cold-blooded murderer out there. I don't think he would have been, to be honest, because I think they would have found him eventually because they knew who he was. They were just trying to find him, and his mom's, his mom's, waving the cops down. Yep, he's right here. He's right here in the bedroom. Come get him. Come on, open the door. Let's go.
If you're new to Ford in Vegas, a true crime podcast for the ages with 2 friends who hate each other, I'm legally obligated to say all of that, by the way.
Yes, you are.
If you're new here, you know that we like to end the true crime portion of the podcast because there's 2 portions of this show.
Deuce.
We like to end the true crime portion with a solved cold case. In Vegas, we have one here. It comes from Georgia. It is, actually, we're not ending it yet because we do have your mugshot of the week. Almost forgot about it.
Yes, don't forget about that.
Yeah. Authorities in Georgia have solved a cold case from 1988 after they used uncovered genetic evidence to find out who was responsible. But here's the kicker on this one, Vegas. They believe it may be the first time that DNA technology identified both the victim and the killer in a single cold case.
Huh.
Stacy Chahorsky was just 19 years old when she was killed. Her body was found along the highway in Dade County, not far from the Alabama-Georgia border. For the last 33 years, investigators didn't know much more about the case, including the identities of both her and her killer. Decades later, Chahorsky's family finally got some answers in the form of new genealogy DNA testing. The technology is used to positively identify a person's DNA. We are standing here today, almost 34 years later, to say that we have finally identified Stacy Chahorsky's killer, Ken Fairley, FBI Atlanta special agent in charge, said. Police said the killer has been identified as Hank Wise. Investigators said they matched a living family member's DNA to his. Wise was a trucker whose route crossed through the Southeast and whose DNA was also found at the scene. He had a criminal history in Florida, Georgia, and North Kakalaki. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation and the Federal Bureau of Investigation are glad they persisted. The GBI special agent in charge, Joe Montgomery, said that he talked to the victim's mother to tell her that they've identified her daughter's killer. She, of course, was upset, but she was very thankful to everybody that I mentioned, and she was just overwhelmed. Investigators said Wise is no longer alive, and he died in a fiery vehicle accident in 1999.
Karma is a bitch.
But now at least the family has some peace that their daughter's killer is no longer roaming free. Let this serve as a warning to every murderer rapist and violent offender out there, Farley said. The FBI and our partners will not give up. It may take years or even decades, but we continually seek justice for victims and their families.
Unfortunately, karma usually takes these jerk-offs out, instead of like real, like you go to prison and suffer. Yeah. You live your life and then karma really took him out. I mean, it wasn't just like he died of old age, like from some of the 60s, the ones in the 1960s.
No, he died in a fire.
No, yeah.
You know it would be even the best if he died in a fiery car accident that wasn't his fault.
Yes.
That would make the story even better.
And hopefully nobody else died. It was just him.
And here to make the show better is Vegas's favorite part of the week.
Where crackhead criminals look their absolute best. For the laughs, for the culture. Vegas presents his Mugshot of the Week.
Oh, yes, that is what we call letting the intro breathe in the business. That's what we do here. Now, this chick, holy crap. Like, I found this chick, and I was like...
Look at her.
And I was like, did she put her, like, finger in a light socket?
This was Don King's daughter.
Yeah, I thought it was. Shavella Hodges. She was born in 72. October 24th, 72. She was, excuse me, she was arrested. Now, if you had to guess, what, just by looking at her, what do you think she was arrested for?
Shoplifting.
No.
Oh.
She was arrested for assault.
Oh.
She assaulted somebody, which to me, if you look at the picture, she looks crazy AF. Yeah. She looks like...
Maybe she boxed him because boxing's in her blood.
Maybe.
Because she's Don King's daughter.
Yes. Yes. She does weigh 175 pounds, and she is 5'5".
Throws a mean left hook.
Yes. Yes. And as far as the mugshot is concerned, yes, she is a female. Just had to throw that out there because you never can tell these days. But
it reminds me of that meme. Not that meme, but that one video that went viral. And they're like, sir. And she's like, I'm a female.
Oh. Yeah.
And they're like, I'm legally blind. Well, I could see. Barely.
Barely.
That's what she reminds me of. That what you just did there reminded me of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, she got arrested for assault.
What was her name?
Her name was Shavella Hodges. No relation to Craig, I'm sure. Probably not. But yeah, this chick, like, her hair is just whack. You'd think she'd probably be on drugs.
It's a good find.
Because I've never been, had a mugshot taken. Other than when I was a kid and we, went to the police station and, they fake took your mugshot. Yeah. But other than that, I've never had my mugshot taken. But
did you get to tase somebody?
No, I wish.
Like in the movie The Hangover?
God, I wish.
You would be that little fat kid who tases Zach Galifianakis.
Right in the balls. Yeah, I would. Can I tase you in the balls?
You can, yes. Next week on this show.
Don't make promises you can't keep.
True.
Don't do it.
If you enjoy true crime podcasts...
Reverie, the state of being pleasantly lost in one's thoughts. A daydream. But what if those daydreams turn to nightmares? Reverie True Crime shines a light on the dark tragedies that have happened and are continuing to happen all throughout the world. We interview and work with families to bring awareness to forms of injustice. We explore the depths of cases from around the world to include missing persons, mysteries, and more. Reverie True Crime is found wherever you're listening to this podcast. Remember, you don't have to live in fear, but stay aware of your surroundings. Stay safe and take care.
Oh, man, this is the time where we give Ford a little break. He's been talking all show. Now it's my turn to talk because we are about equal time here, or at least I am. He could care less. He could probably talk for 4 hours. But here's a little quick hits, a little levity to the situation. We're talking about death and murder, so let's just get to it. Now, this is kind of funny, and it hits close to my heart because I love restaurants. But a study,
You don't say.
Yeah.
What's next? You like food?
No, I hate food. I just like
okay.
restaurants. I go there for the atmosphere. And, a study has found that a minor improvement in a restaurant's rating. That's right. When you go to review these restaurants, keep this in mind.
Nerd.
Yeah. It could mean big returns. This study was published in the Economic Journal, so you know it's legit. Showed just an extra half a star on a restaurant's overall 5-star rating, which is averaged from individual ratings, can make that restaurant 30 to 49% more likely to sell out its tables. So basically, if you give a little extra half star, that's helping that business. So please, go to your restaurant, give it a half star. They've had enough.
But make sure they've earned that extra half star. Don't just give it. Your half stars mean something.
Well, yeah, if you go and it's a crappy restaurant and the food tastes like crap and the service sucks, yeah, don't rate it 4.5 stars. Rate it 2. But give it a half. Because that extra half, 2.5, makes a big difference. This one's kind of funny. Police in the UK said that a man held up a store clerk, but it's a little weird because he had his 3-year-old son with him. That's right. And the boy, because it's his son, did slow the father down just enough to get caught. So yeah, so that tells you if you go to rob a convenience store, don't take your son. It's not daddy or bring your son to work day, especially when you're robbing convenience stores. Now this is speaking of criminals and dumb criminals, because we love dumb criminals here. And don't they say if you get caught, you're a dumb criminal? I don't know. I digress. But someone called the police in Norway after seeing someone driving a post office vehicle. That's right. They stole a post office vehicle. Officers found the vehicle abandoned, and inside was an assortment of stolen merchandise from area robberies. They do a lot of those. Officers stopped 2 suspicious men nearby and found one had a stolen camera in his backpack. On the memory card was a photo of him sitting behind the wheel of the postal vehicle and was apparently taken by the second man. So 2 things we learned this evening. 1, don't take your 3-year-old son to work while robbing stores. And 2, don't take pictures of yourself committing the crime and then keeping the evidence, you dumb fuck.
Yeah, I don't know, obviously, what mail trucks look like in Norway.
Yeah.
But, I mean, we know a mail truck when we see a mail truck.
Yes.
They're pretty obvious here in the United States.
Yeah.
So something tells me, yeah, you might want to just rob normal vehicles.
Yeah. And if you do rob a normal vehicle, still don't take a picture in it and keep the evidence, because they probably would have got away if they didn't have that. Now, a survey of adults say over a third of the people that were questioned on this pick their nose more than. More than. Well, that's a typo. Pick their nose more than 5 times a day, and 34% ate what they picked.
Shut up.
Yeah, that's what it says.
34%?
34%
ate what they picked?
Yes. The other 2/3 supported a catch and release strategy and only ate the ones that were fully grown. That's a fishing reference, I think.
Yeah, I mean, 34%?
I mean, that seems very high.
That seems ridiculously high.
Because why are you going to eat your boogers?
Eat the boogers?
Like, I mean, I do get people pick their nose. Everybody picks their nose. If you say you don't pick your nose, you're lying to yourself.
No, yeah, of
Everybody
course.
picks their nose, but you don't eat it. You find a trash can, you find a tissue, a napkin, a paper towel, something. Or you just flick it off your hand.
There you go.
If you're out in public.
At your own place, though.
Yeah.
Not here.
No, not here. No. I just go into the cabinets. Put my boogers there. You'll find a bunch of them later. In a survey of adults... Oh, I just read that because I was trying to get ahead before you mentioned something. Now, this one also is, plugs at my heartstrings. Dick, would you ever forget who cheated on you? Have you? For what reason? A survey discovered that many of us would give the cheater a pass. 42% would rebuild the relationship. Sound a bit high to you? Well, women, especially older women, are way more forgiving than men, 46 to 37% respectively. Once women hit 55, however, 53% are willing to work things out.
Yeah, because you're older.
and you have less options.
Yes.
And you're like, I'm gonna be with this cheating son of a bitch because I don't have any other options. I'm old.
Make this work.
I'm old. My boobs are sagging. It's not
Wow.
good. I got bags under my eyes.
Wow.
I'm talking about me, not the older women. Anyway, a homeowner in Spain awoke to find something strange lying next to him in bed.
A horse's head.
No, this isn't the mob in New York.
Oh.
A stranger was wearing pink panties.
Ooh.
That's right. The pink underwear belonged to the homeowner's daughter.
That's my favorite color.
After being awakened, the stranger hopped out of bed, leapt through a window, and fell 10 feet to the ground.
Oops.
Police later found him hiding in the bushes.
I think the horse's head would have been a better story. But the pink underwear is not bad.
Well, yeah, I mean, but if he found a horse head,
I got pink underwear on right now.
well, that's because that's all you wear is pink underwear. You love the pink. And finally, what would you do, Ford, if you
bar.
Yeah, what would you do for a Klondike bar?
I'd wear women's pink underwear.
Well, you do that now.
For sure.
But you do that now.
Definitely.
Well, I'd definitely punch you in the face for Klondike bar, but I would also punch you in the face for $1 million in my account. So if anybody wants to Venmo or Zelle me $1 million, I'll punch him in the face live on TV.
That's the minimum or the other? Because you'd punch me punch me for a lot less than $1 million.
Well, true, but I'm going to shoot high here. I'm not going to say
okay.
Give me $20 because somebody will do it. Then I'll have to.
You would probably do it for $20.
I'd probably do it for free, but let's be real. But what would you do if you found $1 million in your account? Probably retire, maybe. I don't know. But because student loans have been a hot topic the past couple of weeks, which reminded me of this story out of South Africa from a few years ago. That's right. A college student in South Africa woke up one day to find $1 million in her bank account. The company responsible for administrating student funds made a clerical error.
Oops.
That's what they say. That turned her from a starving student on a ramen noodle budget. I've been there. I know you have. I've lived with you. On a high roller overnight. That's right. Well, she apparently called to confirm the deposit and was told that, yes, it was legit and correct. It obviously wasn't, which didn't stop her from going on a 2-month spending spree. Some fellow students noticed her standard of living had suddenly risen and dropped a dime on her. They ratted her out. These people deserve to get punched in the face. You don't rat a student out when they get $1 million.
Yeah. Well, that's rude.
Yeah. You might just extort them.
Jerks.
Yeah, you extort them. You don't turn on them. Fortunately, by the time though the student looked into, the woman had only spent $60,000 of the $1 million, which I don't know about you, but in 2 months I better be spending more than $60,000.
Well, she's just still in school and stuff, so some of her time is taken up.
Well, that's true.
But that's still not bad. Was she allowed to keep the 60
no,
grand?
she was forced to pay it back. Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah, unfortunately, she was supposed to pay the 60 grand back, but that's kind of like, I mean, like in America.
Because she called and they said, nope, you're good.
Now it says she called to confirm. Now, I don't know if she called the student loan place or if she called the bank. Because if she called the bank's like, yeah, it's a legit transaction. No. I would assume she called the student loan place. And if the student loan place said, yes, it's legit, then, hey, why do I have to pay back? I called you to make sure it was legit, and you told me.
But the real problem is the people that ratted her out.
That is the real problem.
Jerks.
Yeah. Of course, if I got $1 million, though, you know it's not legit. Like, what student loan place is going to give you $1 million to spend?
Thank you for the quick hits, Joey Vegas.
Yep, that is it.
If you are watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to like the video, like Vegas just showed you. Mm-hmm. Also, if you're on the go, you can subscribe to the show as a podcast wherever you get your podcast. And if you're listening to this show as a podcast, don't forget to hit the subscribe button there. And if you want to watch this show, you could do so at FordandVegas.com. This show in podcast form is also ad-free. That's right, ad-free. For just $3 a month, which goes to supporting the show. Simply go to patreon.com/FV True Crime. Also, you can follow the show on Twitter and Instagram at FV True Crime. And if you want to buy a Ford and Vegas shirt, you can do so at shopfordandvegas.com. Also, don't forget to get a premium soft tee. It's the highest quality and soft as a baby's behind. And lastly, this show airs every single day at blackjacktv.net. And also, one last thing. We are a small part of the Darkcast Network. Darkcast Network is the home for other indie independent true crime podcasts like yours truly, Ford in Vegas, a true crime podcast for the ages with two friends who hate each other. So if you are into true crime podcasts and you want to find out and listen to more like ours, look up the Darkcast Network. For this guy over here, Vegas, I'm Ford. We'll see you next time right here on Ford in Vegas, a true crime podcast for the ages with two friends who hate each other. We'll see you next time.